man, oh man, oh man, oh man. What a beautiful crowd we have tonight. Let me turn off the music. I'm sorry. Let me turn off the music. Let me look at you. You look good. You look great. You look fabulous. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for being here. Without any introduction, without much ado, you already know why you're here. I know what we're doing tonight. We're all here for the same reason. We have made our 20 subscriber goal, 20,000 subscriber goal. Thanks to each and every single one of you guys. And so without much ado, but with a little bit of pizzazz, hold on. I didn't have to throw that all the way over there. So I am recording this video, and as of right this moment, we're close to 20,000, but I'm going to put out this video at a certain point no matter what. So we're close enough, you know what I mean? We're close enough to 20,000 subscribers. Now I can't cover this. Thank you all so much, seriously, from the bottom and the top of my heart for supporting myself, for listening to the music alongside me, for educating me and entertaining me, and just talking to me in the comments. It's been a great time. How long have we been doing this? Like 2 years now or so? It's been a great journey. Ba-bam. Let me read off some information about A Passion Play off of Wikipedia. This is their 6th studio album. This was released in 1973. This was released, actually, about a year after Thick as a Brick. So once again, we are given a double-sided, well, two-side album here with 2 long halves. Technically one long song, apparently. And I'm curious, what have they changed from Thick as a Brick moving forward? As this is, from what I've read, another conceptual piece. I'm just going to move the fan a second. Don't mind me at all. 1 year later, what has changed from Thick as a Brick moving into A Passion Play? Are they still kind of parodying, not necessarily themselves, but kind of creating that kind of sense? Or have they moved into something a little more serious? I don't quite know. Now, I did want to know a little bit of background on this album before I just jumped completely blind right in. So all I've read is on Wikipedia. It says the album's concept follows the spiritual journey of a recently deceased man, Ronnie Pilgrim, in the afterlife, exploring themes of morality, religion, and good and evil. That's all I know. That is all I've read. I didn't want to get into it, of course. I like to have a fresh perspective on it, kind of come up with my own spin, and hopefully you guys will enjoy that as well. I've also hung up one of the posters that one of you guys had sent me as well. I didn't want to like stab through it with anything, so I just have some like nice backing tape on there. Hopefully that stays up the whole time. Honestly, I'm not quite sure if it will stay up the whole time. If it falls, I probably won't even notice. What else is there to say? Except thank you. Thank you for everything. Thank you for allowing me to listen to this album. So thank you guys so much for helping me to reach that goal. Of course, thank everyone for commenting and interacting here in the community, because we got a great community here. There's some great people here. You know? I mean, there's some really good people, but there's some great people here. So seriously, all of you, thank you so much for that. As always, you can support me on Patreon. You can buy a t-shirt. You can follow me on Twitter. You can follow me on a bunch of places. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Hey, let's go ahead and get started with the album. You know why you're here. I know why I'm here. Why delay it? So this side 1, apparently features, we're going to be listening to the songs A Passion Play Part 1, which includes Act 1, Ronnie Pilgrim's Funeral, Act 2, The Memory Bank, and Act 3, Interlude, the story of the hare who lost his spectacles. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. I've probably said without further ado, and I think there's been a lot of ado. This is Jethro Tull, A Passion Play, Side 1.
the seam even here, the silver cord lies on the ground, and so I'm dead, the young man said. Over the hill, not a wish away. My friends as one all stand aligned, although their taxes came too late. There was a rush along the Fulham Road. There was a hush in the Passion Play. Such a sense of glowing in the aftermath, ripe with rich attainments, all imagined, sad misdeeds in disarray. The sore thumb screams aloud, echoing out of the Passion Play. All the old familiar choruses come crowding in a different key. Melodies decaying in sweet dissonance. There was a rush along the Fulham Road into the ever-Passion Play. And who comes here to wish me well? A sweetly scented angel fell. She laid her head upon my disbelief and bathed me with her ever smile. And with a howl across the sand, I go escorted by a band of gentlemen in leather bound. No one but someone to be found. smiling in the gloom. Roll up, roll down, feeling unwound. Step into the viewing room. The cameras were all around. We've got you taped, you're in the play. Here's your ID, ideal for identifying one and all. Invest your life in the memory bank, ours the interest, and we thank you. The ice cream lady wet her drawers to see you in the passion play. this and some of that's the only way to skin the cat. And now you've lost a skin or two. Well, you're for us and we for you. The dressing room is right behind. We've got you taped, you're in the play. How does it feel to be in the play? How does it feel to play the play? How does it feel to be the play? Man of passion, rise again. We won't cross you out. For we do love you like a son, of that there's no doubt. Tell us, is it you or he? For our good cheer, or are we here for the glory, for the story, for the gory satisfaction of telling you how absolutely awful you really are? There was a rush along the Fulham Road. There was a hush in the Passion Play.
It's the story of the hare who lost his spectacles.
Owl loved to rest quietly whilst no one was watching. Sitting on a fence one day, he was surprised when suddenly a kangaroo ran close by. Now, this may not seem strange, but when Owl overheard Kangaroo whisper to no one in particular, "The hare has lost his spectacles," well, he began to wonder. Presently, the moon appeared from behind a cloud, and there, lying on the grass, was Hare. In the stream that flowed by the grass, a newt. And sitting astride a twig of a bush, a bee. A ostensibly motionless, the hare was trembling with excitement, for without his spectacles he appeared completely helpless. Where were his spectacles? Could someone have stolen them? Had he mislaid them? What was he to do? B wanted to help, and thinking he had the answer, began, "You probably ate them, thinking they were a carrot." "No," interrupted Owl, who was wise. "I have good eyesight, insight, and foresight. How could an intelligent hare make such a silly mistake?" But all the time, Owl had been sitting on the fence, scowling. A kangaroo were hopping mad at this sort of talk. She thought herself a far superior in intelligence to the others, as she was their leader, their guru. She had the answer. "Hare, you must go in search of the optician." But then she realized that Hare were completely helpless without his spectacles, and so Kangaroo loudly proclaimed, "I can't send Hare in search of anything." "You Kangaroo, you can," shouted Newt. "You can send him with Owl." But Owl had gone to sleep. And Newt knew too much to be stopped by so small a problem. You can take him in your pouch. But alas, Hare was much too big to fit into Kangaroo's pouch. All this time it had been quite plain to Hare that the others knew nothing about spectacles. And as for all their tempting ideas, well, Hare didn't care. He lost spectacles for his own affair. And after all, Hare did have a spare. A pair. A pair.
We sleep by the ever-bright hole in the door, eat in the corner, talk to the floor, cheating the spiders who come to say please. Politely they bend at the knees. Well, I'll go to the foot of our stairs. Old gentlemen talk of when they were young, of ladies lost, of bearing sons. Lace-covered dandies revel with friends, pure as the truth, tied at both ends. Well, I'll go to the foot of our stairs. Scented cathedral, spire pointed down. We pray for souls in Kent delicate hush, the gods floating by, wishing us well high in the sky. God of ages, Lord of time, mine is the right to be wrong. Well, I'll go to the foot of our stairs. Jackrabbit messed up, spawned a new breed of love-hungry pilgrims, no bodies to feed. Show me a good man and I'll show you the door. The last hymn is sung and the devil cries more. Show me the gypsy, the chain's weakest link, and I'll throw him a fiver to buy all he can drink. Till he's down on his knees, his luck in his heels. Let me pass you the bottle, let's see how it feels. The rollicking hero has won all his wars, left only with memories that ooze from his pores. Let him join in the party and share in the fun, while the bomb in his pocket snuffs out the sun. Well, I'm all for leaving and that being done. I've put in a request to take up my turn in that forsaken paradise that calls itself hell, where no one has nothing and nothing is well-meaning fool. Pick up thy bed and rise up from your gloom, smiling. Give me your hate and do as the loving heathen do. Colors I've none, dark or light, red, white or blue. Cold as my touch, freezing. occasional corn from my oversight crew. Overseer, fire with mind angels from a far better place, offering services for the saving of face. Like a beer you may ask, well it might all whom living has the time from the benign reconciliation. Legends were born surrounding mysterious lights seen in the sky flashing. I just lit a pack and then took my leave in the blink of an eye. Passionate play, join round the maple and dance. Primitive right, wrongly summoned by name. I am the overseer of you. Flee the icy Lucifer, oh he's an awful fellow. What a mistake, I didn't take a feather from his pillow. Here's the everlasting rub, neither am I good nor bad. I'd give up my halo for a horn, and a horn for the hat I once had. it should. I thank everybody for making me welcome. Might stay, but my wings have just dropped off. Hail, son of kings, make the ever-dying sign. Cross your fingers in the sky for those about to be. There am I, waiting along the sand. Cast your sweet spell upon the land and sea. Take your hand from off the chain, loose a wish to still the rain, the storm about to be. Here am I, voyager into life, tougher than a sword that tread the knife's edge. Break the circle, stretch the line, call upon the devil, bring the gods on fire in the conflict to rebel. The passengers upon the ferry crossing, waiting to be born. Renew the pledge of life's long song, rise to the valley horn. Animals queuing at the gates that stand upon the shore. Breathe the ever-burning fire, the gods the ever adore. Son of man, by the flame of ever life, yours the breathe and breath the pain of living being. Here am I, roll the stone away from the dark into ever day.
So first things first, I didn't mean to keep going. But I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, right? So, really quick, the way it was listed on Wikipedia, the last track of side 1, hold on, let me pull it back up, is the story of the hare. But then the beginning of side 2 is the story of the hare. And it's not split quite right in Spotify, so I didn't know where to end it. So I was just like, whatever. Let's just listen to the whole thing today. It's gonna be a lot to chew on. There's a lot of meat in this one. There's a lot. Oh, there's a lot. Okay. This is gonna be a long video, so I hope that you get a snack. Oh man. Let me start. This is the first listen. All right, this is the first time I've heard this album. I don't want to compare, but I do want to make a comparison. First off, I think that Thick as a Brick is a very good album. I do think that A Passion Play is at least 4 times better than Thick as a Brick. I know it's a first listen, but I'm immediately drawn to this so much more than I was to Thick as a Brick. And like I said, I like Thick as a Brick. It's not that it's bad, but this is immediately getting more than my attention. This is getting my curiosity. You know, like, this is so different and unique. This feels fresh. This feels progressive. This feels like the band, like, really trying a new shade. Turning the coin over and trying the tails. That doesn't even make sense. But you know what I mean? Like, this actually feels different for the band, at least from what I've heard. This feels incredibly fresh. This feels like the best parts of Gentle Giant, except Jethro Giant. This feels like Jethro Tull's The Lamb. Not just in the story of the afterlife and this, journey, this winding journey with a lot of different mythological and religious references and such, but even musically, there's a darker side to this. It plays a lot more dramatic and with a lot more flair. And can I really quickly say, I want to highlight 2 people. I want to highlight 2 people specifically for what they're doing. I want to highlight the 2 members in this band, in this album, that, like, man, they are the heart of this album in my opinion. And this is not to take away from any of the contributions, because we're going to talk about everybody here. But the first one's obvious. Ian Anderson. Okay? His singing is so much different. Do you guys... I'm a novice. I haven't heard a lot from the band. Aqualung, Stand Up, Song from the Wood, and a few others here and there. And Thick as a Brick. But his singing here is completely different. Once again, like we're actually on a stage, he is a lot more theatrical without being over the top. And I do mention that a lot, but in a concept like this, where it is supposed to, in some respects, represent a stage play, it would be okay to kind of go over the top. It would be okay to kind of act out a little bit more, for him to stretch those dramatic wings. And yet he doesn't. At least not in the way that perhaps one would expect. He stretches them in a much more subtle way with a lot more nuance. When he plays characters, or when he acts out certain scenes, he does it with grace. He does it without overbearing and overpowering the scenes and like making it a farce. It's not a farce. He's actually putting the realness into it. And I think that comes across so well in this album. I was constantly surprised and very impressed by Ian's vocal performance through here. And Ian is a vocalist that I expect to be impressed by, but he may typically impress in different ways. Here, honestly, I was impressed by the subtlety that he brings in this album. Also, his saxophone playing. I like how much saxophone we get in here, especially in the first track or 2. That just, once again, kind of changes the entire mood of the album and perhaps what we can expect. You can expect the unexpected. This is a great surprise. Second member, we gotta talk about John Evan. Organ, keyboard, synths, piano, backing vocals, everything. John Evan, especially his organ playing in here. The organ already has a very dramatic tone to it. And here, it's used to such fantastic effect from the quieter, more melodic moments into the fiery, more passionate moments. I'll have to find it because, you know, there's a lot of moments in this album I'm going to talk about. And I got to find it, but there's a certain moment in there, you probably saw me acting it out, listening, but there's a certain moment when he's riffing on the organ, and the heaviness that it brings is just so cool to listen to. It's such a creative riff. It's at the end of one of the tracks. I got to find it. But the way that it just goes off is immensely creative. And once again, this is not to take away from any of the other members. You know, this is not to take away from Barr, who's like, he would be the third candidate if I wasn't so affected by the other two. He'd be the third one. Martin is just, especially his acoustic passages, I find myself really drawn to his acoustic passages, and then Hammond, of course, on the bass, very distinct, very classical in its influence. You can hear that in the way that it weaves in and out through a lot of the passages here. And then Barlow on the drums and percussion. He gets a few moments in here, especially when the kick is involved, that is just intense. This is an album. This is an album on first listen. I'm not afraid, and I would put money on it. Like this, I don't want to say this is my favorite Tull album just yet, but this is like very, very much in the high parts of my current rankings personally. This was just, I don't know. It hits all the right marks, right? It's Jethro Tull, and I already like the band. So the heart of the band, I already like. So what do I expect from this? Well, after Thick as a Brick, I'm expecting another concept, but perhaps some sort of progression. Got major progression here. I'm expecting perhaps something different, and yet retaining the heart of the band. I think we got that. I'm expecting to be entertained. I got that. I'm expecting to perhaps be able to sing along to some parts. I don't know if I can yet. I'll have to listen to it again. But there are moments in there that are kind of catchy. And there's memorableness in the music. What more can you ask? Is my chair creaking? I keep on hearing a noise. Alright. Oh, man, my marker is like so dried out now. I shouldn't have thrown that cap. Where to begin except at the beginning? I guess let's go back and let's talk about the album. This is... I don't know what to say. Also, I do really enjoy the lyrics as well. I'll admit, I kind of spaced out lyrically most of the way. Like, I kind of got story beats, you know? I get that in the beginning. He's watching his own funeral. I could see that. And I'll be honest. I kind of lost trail of what was happening for the next few songs. I know that he ends up in hell or purgatory or something like that. One of them. And then he's trying to escape from hell. He's trying to escape from the devil. I like the lyrics when they reference trying to escape from the devil's icy horns, or how do they word it? They said, he says, flight from Lucifer, flee from icy Lucifer. I love that. Okay? I love that because if you're going to be accurate, you got to be accurate. In, not Paradise Lost, in, not the Ninth Gate. Get out of my head. What's that? Oh my gosh. Hold on. In the Divine... Oh my god. The Divine Tragedy begins with... Dante's Inferno. Okay. That took me way too long to remember. In Dante's Inferno, the mythology of that, the ninth circle of hell, if I remember correctly, is where Lucifer, the devil, is. And because of the way he beats his wings, it keeps... Oh, sorry, blew the microphone. Keeps an eternal frost around him. So the devil is literally like frozen down there. And he's frozen, so the bottom of hell is actually ice, which is completely interesting, right? Much different from the typical fire and stuff that we're used to thinking. And he's chewing on 3 people down there. I know one of them was Judas. I think the other one was... because I think those are the betrayers in the last... in the final circle. I think the other one is... Is it whoever betrayed Julius Caesar, maybe? I think it's been a really long time I know Judas is down there getting chewed on. Just like eternal. It's like just eternal punishment. Getting chewed on by the devil. You're a piece of bubblegum for the devil. Judas. Was it, who was Julius Caesar's friend? Etu Brute. It's been a long time since I don't know. Anyways, and there's some third guy. So I just feel like how, like, according to, like, Christian mythology, at least in that sense, that's really cool that they include that. And then later on, you even have a reference to the river and Sharon, Sharon, the river man, river Styx, which typically takes the dead over to hell. And this time he's going back. There, he talks about getting on the boat. Passengers upon the ferry crossing, waiting to be born. So you can even get reincarnation, which actually ties back to the end when he repeats there was a rush along the Fulham Road into the ever passion play. And at the beginning, Fulham Road is where people were going to the funeral, I think. I don't know. Like I said, I have to really look at the lyrics. I don't know if Fulham Road is representing the mourners going to the funeral or people dying going across the river Styx, which he calls Fulham Road, and then he references it again because there's a rush of people or souls coming back from the dead being reincarnated, going back. So there's like a traffic jam of souls trying to get reincarnated. I think that's probably what it is, but I'm not 100% sure after I read the lyrics. Also, the lyrics, at least on Genius, were kind of broken up, not great for me. So sometimes I kind of really lost where I was. All right, let's talk about the music. So we begin with Life Beats and Prelude. I really like the saxophone that we eventually get. This is very ambient, the heartbeat like rhythm going on here, which quickens and eventually ends. So a nice representation of life coming to an end here. And I really like the choice of saxophone being played in such a lonesome way here at the beginning. It really sets up a certain tone. It's a little bit more grim than thick. It's a little bit more of a darker atmosphere we're going for. And yet we're not losing the edge that we've always gotten from the band. Sorry, that's really loud. And this almost has a carnival-like affair. And we do have a certain theme like this that continually plays throughout the album. In between some of the moments, you kind of have this circus-like motion that you get. And then this is a little bit of a taste of what's to come. Notice how the notes and the playing sounds just a little bit more dramatic and darker. But you still get a little bit of playfulness in this. Also, before I forget, because I'm talking about the whole album, so I'm going to forget some things. There's a moment in one of the tracks, and I think that it's Forest... I'm not 100% sure, so we'll have to listen to it when we'll get there. I think it's in one of the forest dances. I think it's there, but it reminds me of incantations from Mike Oldfield. There's a certain way that's being played, but like I said, we'll find if it's that song or not. But there's a moment somewhere in this album that I was listening like, that's incantations. But let's keep going a little bit though. Here, begin to get that playfulness of the organ. But I want to move into the silver chord. The silver chord is like, I think one of my favorite tracks so far. So far is my first listen. So far on the album, silver chord, and then Lucifer. I don't remember what it was called. Flight from Lucifer. I think as of right now, those are my two favorites. But listen to silver chord here.
Came too
Listen to Ian.
late. There was a rush.
This pulls me.
Along the Fulham Road.
You can see him and John Evans, or Evan, on the piano, singing on stage, alone, one person under the spotlight before the rest of the band begins to come in. I love the addition of hush. Oh, and there's Martin. See, these moments where Martin gets to breathe acoustically especially, I find incredibly empowering. Now let me lower this down. Listen to the dramaticness of all of this weight. And I think that's one thing I really enjoy about the way Ian sings throughout this album is the weight and the gravitas that he actually gives his voice, and he gives the themes of the story itself. Let me pull up just a wee bit. Isn't this a bit Gentle Giantess-ish? The darkness of the bass there. slow build up. Barlow on the kicks. He always has something interesting going on with the kicks behind these little marching drums. Oh, that's a theme there. Oh yeah. Right? And then the saxophone. This is that first moment. Hey, this is that, well, maybe not the first moment, but this is one of those first moments where I'm listening, I'm like, this is different. This is a little something different, right? This is so awesome. Oh, such a classic bass. The way the music begins to swell, drops off, the movement is so satisfying. Saxophone. Bring it in. Bring it in. That's madness. That's absolute madness, and I'm here for it. Let me tell you, right? And then for a brief moment, as we move into the next track here, Memory Bank, it lightens it up a little bit, but this kind of reminds me of like the slight uneasiness of Lamb. Along with all, connecting all the dots, all the tracks, all the little outbursts, and a fluid story, a fluid narrative. This is Jethro Tull's Lamb. Oh, here. Listen to him. Listen to Barlow. What is he doing? Oh my god. And then see how he brings it down? He brought the volume of it down to bring the pressure down, relieve, allow room for flutes, bring in the organ crash. What power is there in that combination? What else do you need? What else? What else do you need? What else? What else? What else? That's the organ I'm talking about right there. That little moment right there, I think that may be one of my favorite moments on the album. Just that riff. Da dun da dun da 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 da. Oh, that's tasty. That's darkly tasty. I just hit something down here. This may also be one of my favorites. Listen to the tension in the organ into piano. Rumble and tumble of the drums. This. Hold on, because I didn't ask you guys, and I'm sorry, I didn't even ask for your opinion. It's my first listen, so I'm not like the best to ask, right? But is A Passion Play one of Jethro Tull's top 5 albums? Top 3 albums? I don't know. Let me tell you. From my own personal listening, right? Let me tell you where my Jethro Tull albums rank thus far. So, it may be cliche. It's okay. I don't mind. It's how I feel. Can't help that. But I do think that Aqua Lung is my favorite Jethro Tull album right now, thus far, right? I think it's a great album. I know, like, it's the cliche choice. I love it. It's great. My second favorite, I'll be honest, I kind of put Stand Up and Songs from the Wood kind of on the same level. One day, Monday through Wednesday, I can take Stand Up. Thursday through Sunday, I can take Songs from the Wood. They kind of interchange between themselves. And then Thick as a Brick is, as of right now, the lowest ranked. Though, once again, just to reiterate, that doesn't mean it's bad or I dislike it. I know it's a first listen, but Passion Play could end up in a silver medal, with a silver medal. I don't know, let's keep on listening.
And your little sister's immaculate virginity.
We got an auctioneer now? I love the little background vocals or the kind of process vocals through, like, I don't know what they're speaking from or singing from. But I love that. Once again, it adds character, it adds depth without having to go to some over dramatics. Like, I don't know, that's just the right flavor. Oh yeah, listen to that. You hear it, Martin? See how Martin's in their back? I love. It's almost like he's like It's like they start that movement, and then Martin's like, "Ka," and they're like, "Stop, stop." And this is so heavy too. Isn't it? This is headbanging. Oh, we get deep down here. What a perfect ending. You even got a little on this on the end there. It sounded a little bit like ELP, a little bit of Lucky Man. That little ending. All right, tell me that this, out of the darkness of the rest of the album that we came through, tell me that this isn't the perfect little reprieve. This is the loveliest of breaks. We're in the woods. We're by a babbling brook. Springs. It's pastoral. It's scenic. And because of that right there, this reminds me a little bit of Incantations. Those are like the same sounds that Mike Oldfield uses in Incantations. That's awesome. Even sounds somewhat similar in the notes. And like I said, after the heaviness of, especially the last track, after the heaviness of that, this is such a break. This is the true meaning of a break. Right? You know, like in music structure, you got the verse, the chorus, the verse, the chorus, the break, and then chorus, chorus. This actually feels like a break. You know, this actually feels like a time off. This feels like we've broken from the past norms of the music that we've heard and gone somewhere else. It's spacey, it's cosmic, and at the same time, at least in my opinion, it's earthly, and it's foresty. Now, what happens here?
This is the story of the hare who lost his spectacles.
This changes things. This changes things a lot. This could also be a break. So it was right here that my lyrics ended, so I couldn't quite follow with what they were saying there. But that is the story of the hare who lost his spectacles. And apparently, because that's definitely not Ian. That can't be Ian singing there. That would be actually Hammond, who's playing bass. He's actually the one who's doing the singing.
Owl loved
Speaking
to rest
here.
quietly whilst no one was watching.
Can I tell you? I would listen to him read a book to me any day. That's okay. All right. I was, just before I sat down to record, I was taking a nostalgia trip. You know, every once in a while you take a nostalgia trip. Okay. This has nothing to do with the review and everything, but let's talk a little bit. So, do you remember when you were in school and they had book fairs? The book fair. The Scholastic Book Fair. Oh man, your mom would give you $5, say, go get yourself a book, get you some learning. Man. And you would just buy a cool pencil or some cool erasers. Anyways, there was this book that I used to read. And I remember it. It was the... How did it go? It was the story of the Stinky Cheese Man or something like that. And other not-so-fairy tales or something like that. I don't remember the exact name of it. But I found it online and I was just reading through it. And the artwork, it was so funny. And they took classic fairy tales and they kind of like turned them on their head and made them stupid or whatever. Like the ugly duckling, instead of growing up to be a beautiful duck or swan, the ugly duckling just grew up to be more ugly. So, and the artwork in that is so interesting. It was some of the coolest artwork I've ever seen in a children's book. But for some reason, if I can reconnect the dots here, it kind of reminds me of this.
Sitting on a fence
Whimsical.
one day, he was surprised.
Maybe
when
something
someone
twisted. I don't know. I got to read the lyrics.
close by.
But this is the
Now,
chewing the
this may not
scenery,
seem strange,
tongue-in-cheek
but when
kind
Owl
of dramatization
overheard
I'm talking about.
Kangaroo whisper
And yet, because we get it here in this moment where we are directly being told a story of some sort, it works so well. Once again, it's another part of the break. It is completely different, and yet at the same time, it is completely fitting. See, and after that, we get back to this. Once again, this is Incantations. No, I don't want to... This is Incantations. This is also one of my favorite movements. Listen to this, the depth of it.
Pure as the truth, tied at both ends.
I love Ian singing there, matching the notes so well.
To the foot of our stage.
Actually tiptoeing on the rhythmic beats.
Spy pointed down.
That's great. I can imagine when they were writing this and recording this, I can imagine how much fun they had when they came up with the actual rhythmic pacing. You know, I want to know, was it Ian that would think of like a certain rhythm and he would sing the passage in a certain line and then they would bring the music behind him and kind of playfully dance around him? Or was the music laid down first as the groundwork and then Ian would come with the vocals and perform the footwork? Right? But it's so cool to listen to the band and especially Ian
We
with the
pray for
band. See how he just like he lands on them. He lily pads and leapfrogs himself across the road. He's playing a vocal frogger. This sounds like the break from Aqualung, right? The way they broke it. See, and the way Martin comes in now has a certain kind of soul in here. Of course, off to John, and then saxophone. Ian enters. This is like, you know what this is like? This is like going to a pub. It's going to a pub, and you see a folk band show up on stage, dressed so humbly. They start to play some old folk jig, and then somewhere throughout the night, somehow this humble folk band starts to change and morph. The music and the room and the atmosphere starts to change around them. It goes from, like I said, humble folk into movements of progressive. All of a sudden there's a saxophone on stage. All of a sudden the organ is like blazing. The brown and oak stained wood is now like covered with like a red curtain on the stage. Lights are brought up. Like the mood changes. And I think this is one of those moments that changes the mood of the album a little bit. And if not changes, at least enhances it. Like, don't you feel better for hearing this? That's a gut punch. Woo! Martin burning up. From the calmness back into churning waters. There's some great soloing going on throughout this album. Some really fantastic leads. But the way they all come together rhythmically and melodically, really. Awesome. This song is really characterized by the highs and lows. And the highs are high. But we need to talk about Flight from Lucifer. That downright evil, chilling organ. Little lead on the right. Hit it again. Ooh, that's infernal. Oh yeah. Isn't that good? When you think Lucifer, I mean, you might think a lot of things, but this is one thing I think is just evil and kind of playful. See, this song is catchy. This song is upbeat. Almost as if Lucifer trying to wing and fly himself out from hell himself. This sounds like a song I could hear Gabriel singing. I love that kind of hypnotizing and hypnotic movement of the singing. Rising back up. Is that timpani? What are you doing, Evan? Come on. You're not jamming to this? You have to be jamming to this, I think. And finally, the album starts to resolve itself as we move into the final few tracks here. This immediately feels to me like a conclusion. Still have some of those melodic dark notes, and yet it does feel lighter. Hold on. But I want you to listen to this beat that they break into here. Because this is a smooth beat. Alright? Listen. Flute makes it upbeat, makes it whimsical. Listen how they exit all that. Hold on. Ooh. The way Martin comes in with it, on top of the bass and the drums, that's smooth. And then we end softly and yet hard. That's cool. Drawn into the ever passion play. I mean, that's an album. You know? Like that. I know you guys enjoyed that. You had to have enjoyed that. I mean, that's high quality. And then I looked at this briefly during the song a little bit, and I showed it to you guys just so you could see as well. But you have in here, obviously, the lyrics. Sorry, I was blocking the volume. You have the lyrics, but then, oh, the cat's coming in now. You have this little, I don't know, this little sleeve in here. It says the Linwell Theater, a passion play. If you can see that there. And then if you open this up, so you have these people that I've never heard of. Mark Ridley, why did I say Widley? John Tetrod, Max Quad. Over here you have the Linwell Theater, Max Quad, John Tetrod, Mark Ridley, in a Passion Play by Rena Sanderone. So here's my thing. I don't know if these are actual people, or if these are once again kind of, Jethro Tull parodying themselves or parodying theater in some way. I'm not 100% sure of that. But they wrote some lines with them. They wrote a biography for each of them. And then if you hold it just like so, the lyrics will actually continue from here as well. So that's kind of cool. Now, I'm not going to read every single lyric here, but let's go ahead and read a few of them at least. Let's start with the silver cord. Do you still see me, even here? The silver cord lies on the ground, and I'm so dead, the young man said, over the hill, not a wish away. So like I said, this is him having kind of an into the void moment where he's, seeing his own funeral, it seems. He sees his own death. My friends, as one, all stand aligned, although their taxis came too late. There was a rush along the Fulham Road. There was a hush in the Passion Play. Okay, so from what I've kind of gathered, when they say the Passion Play, they're basically talking about life. So there was a hush in the Passion Play. It was his life ending. It was a hush. And then they talk about, in the end, the Passion Play basically starting over, which is him coming back to life. My cat is here looking around. You want to come over, baby, while I'm reading the lyrics? She's not interested. All right. And then silver cord. I knew that was going to fall. I knew it was going to happen at some point. Silver cord. The cord has been cut. The cord of life. The three fates. And we ain't talking ELP. Such a sense of glowing. Excuse me. Such a sense of glowing in the aftermath, ripe with rich attainments. All imagine sad misdeeds in disarray. The sword thumb screams aloud, echoing out the Passion Play. I don't know what that means. All the old familiar choruses come crowding in a different key. Melodies decaying in sweet dissonance. There was a rush along the Fulham Road into the ever Passion Play. So when he says all the old familiar choruses come crowding in a different key, what I gather is at the funeral or whatever's going on, they're singing a song. So, the old familiar choruses, the songs that you sing when people are dead or at a funeral. Do you sing at funerals? I don't know. But they're all coming in and singing on a different key, basically. And then melodies decaying into sweet dissonance, which could represent their singing, or it could just represent life, the melody of life, decaying into dissonance. And who comes here to wish me well? A sweetly scented angel fell. She laid her head upon my disbelief and bathed me with her ever smile. And with the howl across the sand, I go escorted by a band of gentlemen in leather bound, no one but someone to be found. I would just imagine this is them taking the casket away, basically. The sweetly scented angel who fell, I imagine this is probably his wife or a lover of some sort, partner, and they fell upon his body like they are grieving, so they cried upon his body, their tears and such upon him. Then we kind of get interesting. All along the icy waste, there are faces smiling in the gloom. Roll up, roll down, feeling unwound, step into the viewing room. The cameras were all around. We've got you taped. You're in the play. Here's your ID. Invest your life in the memory bank. Ours, the interest, and we thank you. The ice cream lady wets her draws to see you in the Passion Play. I have no idea what that means. But I think right there is basically where I didn't mean to, but I kind of checked out listening to the lyrics, and I was just so impressed by the music. So if I'm reading that one correctly, and I'm probably not, let me take my headphones off, I don't really need these. I'm kind of guessing, since we now know that there's going to be some sort of reincarnation later, I'm kind of guessing that perhaps they're storing him in like the memory banks so that he can be brought back to life later or something like that. Let me see, where was I on here? Best friends, all your best friends' telephones never cool from the heat of your hand. There's a line in a front page story. 13 horses also ran. Climbing your old umbrella, does it have a nasty tear in the dome? I don't know what's going on. Lover of the black and white, it's your first night. The Passion Play goes all the way, spoils your insight. Tell me how the baby's made, how the lady's laid, why the old dog howls in sadness. I like how the Passion Play is described as, I guess, going all the way. Maybe the Passion Play is just life and death. I don't know. Talk about a dressing room is right behind you, and then they ask, how does it feel to be in the play? How does it feel to play the play? How does it feel to be the play? So the questions progress, ending in how does it actually feel to be the play? You are the attraction. You are the play itself. Man of passion, rise again. We won't cross you out. I really like that. There's a few lines in here that reference either like the Bible or like Jesus, like Son of Man, man of passion, rise again, rising again. We won't cross you out. Like we won't cross you out, kill you. Also referencing Jesus. For we do love you like a son, of that there's no doubt. Tell us, is it you who are here for our good cheer? Or are we here for the glory, for the story, for the gory seekers? Oh, sorry. For the gory satisfaction of telling you how absolutely awful you really are. So I kind of imagine like he's being judged now in the afterlife. Like, that's what I'm kind of getting from this. I think, I don't know. I honestly, I really don't know. Let's go on to Passion Play Part 2. All right, and we start with the story of the hare who lost his spectacles. So, before I even read this, when I think of the hare who lost his spectacles, I'm thinking Alice in Wonderland, and I'm thinking of the hare. You know, gonna be late. Of course, the hare is running to the tea party. Alice follows the hare, follows the white rabbit, also in The Matrix, which has a lot of Alice in Wonderland references. And then she goes into the rabbit hole, which takes her to this other world, Wonderland, and things move forward from there. So if the hare lost his spectacles, before I even read the story, how does he know where he's going? And if he doesn't know where he's going, how can he lead anyone else? I don't know, something like that is what I mean. Owl loved to rest quietly whilst no one was watching. Sitting on a fence one day, he was surprised when suddenly a kangaroo ran close by. Now, this may not seem strange, but when Owl overheard Kangaroo whisper to no one in particular, the hare has lost his spectacles, well, he began to wonder. For some reason, this is giving me Frank Zappa vibes. This is something Frank Zappa would write, I feel. Presently, the moon appeared. Why can't I read? Appeared from behind a cloud, and there, lying on the grass, was Hare. In the stream that flowed by the grass, a newt. And sitting astride a twig of a bush, a bee, ostensibly motionless, the hare was trembling with excitement, for without his spectacles he appeared completely helpless. Where were his spectacles? Could someone have stolen them? Had he mislaid them? Bee wanted to help, and thinking he had the answer began, he probably ate them thinking they were a carrot. No, interrupted the owl, who was wise. I have good eyesight, insight, and foresight. Remember that in To Midnight, DJ Shadow. Midnight, never mind. Insight, force. Okay. How could an intelligent hare make such a silly mistake? But all the time, Owl had been sitting on the fence scowling. We got a long story here. Kangaroo was hopping mad at the sort of talk. She thought herself superior in intelligence to the others. She was their leader, their guru. She had the answer. Hare, you must go in search of an optician. But then she realized that Hare were completely helpless without his spectacles. How is he going to get there? Can't see where he's going. So Hare said, I can't send Hare in search of anything. You can, Guru, you can, shouted Newt. You can send him with Owl, but Owl had gone to sleep. Newt knew too much. Much to be stopped by so small a problem. You can take him in your pouch. That's a good idea. But alas, Hare was much too big to fit into Kangaroo's pouch. All this time it had been quite plain to Hare that the others knew nothing of spectacles. As for all their tempting ideas only, I keep on doing that. Hare didn't care. The lost spectacles were his own affair. And after all, Hare did have a spare pair. A pair. So he had a pair the whole time, a spare one. Just put those on, bro. I'm not quite sure how that relates to the story. That might be one of those little self-contained stories that seemingly doesn't have anything to do with anything, and yet they probably just reference the whole of a passion play right there in that. It's like the beginning of Midsummer, how the whole story is technically told in the very beginning, but if you might not catch it, and then you catch it later on. Okay. We sleep by the ever-bright hole in the door, eat in the corner, talk to the floor, cheating the spiders who come to say please, they bend at the knees. While I'll go to the foot of our stairs, old gentlemen talk of when they were young, of ladies lost, of erring sons. So it seems that at this point, maybe he's in this waiting place. Maybe this is purgatory, actually. Because he's kind of talking about waiting and stuff like that. Well, I'm all for leaving and that being done. I've put in a request to take up my turn in that forsaken paradise that calls itself hell. Okay, so I'm not overly familiar on my, Christian theology and such, but if I remember correctly, purgatory is basically like just middle ground. And from there, it's basically like a waiting room, and you go to either heaven or hell. I could be wrong, but I think. So it seems like he's just like, get me out of here. I don't care. Just send me to hell. Fine, we'll go there. And then, let's see. Show me a good man, and I'll show you the door. The last hymn is sung, and the devil cries more. And then you have, pick up thy bed and rise from your gloom, smiling, give me your hate, and do as the loving heathen do. Now, when he says, pick up thy bed and rise, that is also a reference to another verse in the Bible where Jesus resurrects a guy and he says something along the lines of, pick up your bed and walk, pick up your something and walk. Moving forward, you have the Overseer Overture. Now, this Overseer, I don't think is... Well, I guess it might be the devil, actually. Summoned by name, I am the Overseer over you, given this command to watch over our miserable sphere. Fallen from grace. Okay, so it must be Satan. Called on to bring sun or rain. Occasional corn from my oversight grew. Fell with mine angels from a far better place, offering services for the saving of face. Now you're here. You may as well admire... All whom living has retired with a benign reconciliation. Legends were born surrounding mysterious lights, seen in the sky. It just keeps going on and on. He talks about the Passion Play, joined around the maypole. They're celebrating some pagan rituals now. It's a good time. He's not having the worst times hanging with Lucy. And then, of course, Flight of Lucifer, flee from icy Lucifer. Oh, he's an awful fellow. What a mistake. I didn't take a feather from his pillow. He didn't bother Lucy at all. And yet Lucy's just he's not good kinship. Here's the everlasting rub, neither am I good nor bad. I'd give up my halo for a horn, which it seems he did in purgatory in the waiting room, and a horn for the hat I once had. He would give it all away just to get back to where he was. Just to get back. Then he kind of talks up from there. And then moving once again kind of to the end here. Just to skip a few lines, we talk about crossing the river Styx, the passengers upon the ferry crossing, waiting to be born, renew the pledge of life's long song, rise to the revel horn. And they're all standing there at the gates. Here I am, roll the stone away, once again a reference to being resurrected, from the dark into ever day, ending with, there was a rush along the Fulham Road into the ever Passion Play. I'm just reading some background information now on the album. It says that upon arrival at the Tull, which was where they were recording, the band faced a variety of challenges, ranging from technical issues to bug-infested beds to food poisoning epidemics, which caused Anderson to give the Chateau the name Chateau Disaster. I'm reading, like I said, a little bit more. And yeah, so all the actors and the people involved in the play here in the actual album, they're just made up. So it's interesting that it says obviously they're fake names and everything, including Rena Sanderone, which is an anagram of Ian Anderson. Oh, I hope that you enjoyed the video. I went on a lot longer than I thought I would, but let's be honest, like, it's Jethro Tull first of all, and it's, for myself, a new album from Jethro Tull, so it's not going to be a bad time. And as a matter of fact, this was the complete opposite. This is a great time. I hope that you enjoyed it. Thank you so much. So much for being here. Thank you, as always, for the 20K. That's amazing. That's beyond. You know what I mean? Sometimes I say that. That's just beyond. I really appreciate it. Thank you for all the gifts that you guys have sent. Thank you for everything you guys have done. Thank you for the community, the friendship, and the community that you guys bring. The friendliness, the thoughtfulness, the experience, and all of those. I really appreciate it. I love reading your comments. So please leave a comment. If it's your first time here, I sincerely hope that it's not going to be your last time. If you hated the video, it's okay. You know, have a great day. But I do hope that you enjoyed some part of it. Hope that you enjoyed my company. For sure, I enjoyed yours. You're more than welcome to, once again, follow me here. Of course, on YouTube, you can subscribe and stuff. Don't forget to like the video. You can support the channel on Patreon. You can buy a shirt if you like. You can do so many things, but I do hope that you enjoyed this video. Hope this was time well spent and time spent well. And come back tomorrow. Who knows what we're doing? Who knows? I mean, if we get to 25 subscribers, 25,000, we'll do Tommy the Who. That's going to be next. But thank you all so much for being here. Have a great night. Have a wonderful weekend. And I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye.